everyone, this is PK Entertainment and we're back again, and here now we have another video for you, and we're going to do some box office reporting for Killers of the Flower Moon and talk about its opening weekend of release within cinemas, covering the period of Friday the 20th to Sunday the 22nd of October 2023. Now, the Martin Scorsese epic drama, which focuses on a series of Oklahoma murders in the Osage communities during the 1920s, was financed by Apple TV and distributed on limited theatrical release by Paramount. And it's gained a lot of discussion over its strong critical reception and also its lengthy 3-hour and 20-minute runtime. And when looking at its opening numbers within US cinemas, the movie debuted at number 2 with a weekend take of roughly around 23 million. It came in behind Taylor Swift's Eras concert movie, which retained the number 1 spot with a gross just over 33 million. Internationally, the Martin Scorsese movie matched its US gross to end up with a tally of around $44 million worldwide. So when assessing these numbers, we asked the question as to whether this is a good take or not. Well, normally an R-rated 3-hour plus movie that's very much more of a character drama, the complete opposite of a 4-quadrant blockbuster, would be deemed a good weekend take. And Scorsese's movies are not your typical $100 million event films. His most commercially successful efforts, whether we look at the likes of The Departed, The Wolf of Wall Street or Shutter Island, didn't open anything above 50 million. So this could be spun as a decent to good opening, especially when you consider the 3-hour plus runtime, which would have deterred a lot of viewers, myself included, from actually going to watch the film. But then I look at this from another perspective, and I have to say that there's been a bit of a double standards and a bit of a hypocrisy here during this commentary of this film. Now, currently when it comes to box office analysis and reporting, there's just as much emphasis on the movie's budget as opposed to its overall gross. A movie's real success is measured through its profits, which is really determined by its overall budget. There's no point in grossing over $500 million if your movie costs $350 million to make. And we normally go by the ruling that a film generally has to make at least 2 times its production budget before it can start seeing any levels of profit. And this year alone in 2023 has certainly deemed the majority of the Southern blockbuster films as flops, because of their huge grosses hitting north of anything between $200 to $300 million. But so far from what I'm seeing concerning the commentary of Killers of the Flower Moon, it's not quite getting the same criticism or backlash, and I asked the question why. Now, people can talk all day about the fact that it's much more of a prestige drama, that it's R-rated, it's very much of a slow burn, again, character building. Yes, the fact that it's a Martin Scorsese film will always garner a lot of interest, but this isn't Martin Scorsese Casino or Goodfellas. And the fact is that Killers of the Flower Moon cost over $200 million to make. Yes, it is a streaming movie for Apple, but it's been released majorly in theatres, so surely its performance should be judged in the same way as other movies. Both Leonardo DiCaprio and Martin Scorsese are marquee names, and the movie will be in consideration for Academy Award nominations, so this is a major film release. And we can say without absolutely certainty that if these numbers were produced by a movie from Disney, Marvel, if this were a Star Wars movie or a DC film, then the narrative would be one of a massive failure, a disaster and end of a franchise. We know for sure that when The Marvels comes out next month, if it doesn't hit that $100 million opening as expected, then we'll get plenty of videos exposing that failure. So it's not as if I'm hating on Killers of the Flower Moon. As I said before, I've yet to see it, and I'm as much a fan of Scorsese's work as anybody else is. But we do have to show some consistency, and if the big event movies are criticised for opening low against their high $200 million budgets, then the same criticism has to be directed for this film as well. And there is a certain irony here, given Scorsese's multiple commentary on the Marvel movies, that the superhero genre doesn't represent true cinema, and in the more like fairground films, that the smaller independent movies aren't getting the support. Yet here he comes with a movie that's every bit as high budgeted as those event movies are. And at the moment, this movie is going to underperform in low comparison to its budget overall, just like the superhero movies have in 2023. So I just find it interesting, this whole very much protesting for true cinema, when really his films have performed just like the big event films have. Now, from day one since this movie was announced, I've asked the question as to whether it needed to cost $200 million. And at least the event movies can offer up large spectacle and CGI for some form of justification. Yes, the likes of Leonardo DiCaprio and Robert De Niro would command high salaries, but could this movie have not been made for 90 million or 100 million? This especially is brought into focus when we look at recently The Creator, directed by Gareth Edwards, which was much more of that large-scale action sci-fi blockbuster, yet it cost $100 million less than Killers of the Flower Moon. There's even more irony about the so-called preserving of true cinema couldn't top a popular singer's concert movie in its second weekend. There was a bigger demand for Taylor Swift than what there was for pure cinema. Does that mean that Taylor Swift is now every bit a threat to real cinema? Is she damaging future movie making in the same way? Or is it simply a case that Killers of the Flower Moon didn't really have that same amount of appeal in terms of its overall story and subject matter, certainly to widestream audiences? Who knows? It may have even benefited to a higher opening if it had trimmed down its excessive runtime. And even the most positive of reviews about the film have all generally stated that it could have done with trimming for at least 20 to 30 minutes. So as I mentioned before, I'm not campaigning for this film to flop. It's always good to have much more serious adult-orientated dramas be successful at the box office, but there is always room for both. There's no reason why you can't have the big budget superhero blockbusters be successful and also more serious movies like Killers of the Flower Moon do the same thing. And to an extent, this has been proven with the so-called Barbenheimer effect. So the much more mainstream appealing Barbie hit well over $1 billion, and then we contrasted that with Christopher Nolan's more serious Oppenheimer, which whilst hasn't hit $1 billion yet, it's only coming off 50 million shy of that figure as well. So that has proven that there is room for both. So I just find it very interesting at this first weekend performance so far, given all of the surrounding commentary around the big event films and the so-called preserving of future cinema. So that's my overall thoughts and feelings on the first weekend opening release of Killers of the Flower Moon. Let me know what you think in the comments below. And if you have any other subjects or television series or movies that you'd like to see me cover in the future, then also let me know in the comments and I will see if I can provide further commentary for you on that subject matter within the future. Please also hit on the subscription and notification buttons so I can provide you with more high quality content like this in the future. But that's it for now. Take care of yourselves and I will see you very, very soon.